Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of the Dan Dawson Show. So, for those of you who've been following my show for a while, I went from hey, let the blue dog liberals have their stupid little liberal cities to we're gonna have to fight back at this point. This is actually from Fox News. This is outside of Kenosha. I want to show you something. Look at that sign right there, far left. It says racism kills. You'll see it in a second, right? So does the inevitable strike back, Black Lives Matter. See, they made this case all about race, right? All about race. Here's the problem. A young white law-abiding citizen, he broke no laws, that's been proven, right? Killed 3 white criminals who were attacking him. How is this about race? Yet nothing from them on the Ahmaud Arbery trial. It seems like they would go for that one more, right? No, because it doesn't fit their narrative. That's what I keep trying to say. It's not a matter of black or white at this point. It's not. It's about their cult narrative. And now they've invested so much their whole lives into this mentality. See, it's too late to get out of the cult. They'd rather just drink the Kool-Aid, lay down, and call it a day. And they're calling for violence. Why do you think they're calling for violence? I'll explain at the end of the video. So what I'm going to do with this video is I'm going to let each person speak, and then I'll be pausing, but the clips are so choppy and quick. I might go over a little bit, please excuse me, but I'm going to dispute every one of their points. And let's get it.
Because this is going totally wrong. It is a show, and the whole nation media is calling it a show. It's racist. It's biased. There should be a mistrial.
Without our voices, I just feel.
Go back a little bit here. Yeah. So she's saying it's racist and it's biased. What's racist about a young white kid defending himself from 3? I might add, one was a 5-time convicted pedophile. 3 convicted felons. What's racist about that? Because you wear the name Black Lives Matter, which was genius by them. See, now every time something happens with a Black Lives Matter group, you think it's black people. I saw that entire video, right? I watched the thing over and over. I watched the trial, right? There were only 4 black people that I saw. And they were standing over to themselves, minding their business, keeping people away from them. Maybe they just came out to look, I don't know. Even when I went to Chop Chaz, right? That whole thing, remember, it was BLM and blah, blah, blah. There were only 4 black people there. And I brought one of them. So it's me and one other black dude and 2 other black dudes. We said hi and kept going. But they'll have you believe it's all about black. And look at this poor, lost, misguided young lady. See, young lady, you think it's about you. It's not. It's not about you. It's not about black people. It's about their agenda and their politics. Let's hear what she has to say, though.
Out our voices, I just feel like we need to show them that we're not playing and we're here and we are listening, we're watching, and yeah, I'm here to.
I want you to notice something about that. Black woman, I hate to feed into the stereotype. I really do. I really do. Because I don't like the stereotype. Because you get down here in Texas, you see it's my Texas accent comes out more and more. But you notice, does she sound like your average everyday black person that grew up in a black neighborhood? Or does she sound like she grew up in a white neighborhood? Ask yourself, those are actually very important questions. Because like Joy Reid and Dr. What's his name? He's so unimportant, I forget his name, the race baiter. I did a video on him and Joy Reid together. That is the black face of white supremacy right there. And you can hear the white words coming out of her mouth. I mean, if we want to get into race, I don't think it should be about black or white. I think it should be about ideas and principles. American ideas, American principles. It's really what I think it should be about. Let's see what this lady has to say.
Stand up for what's right. And I believe that he should do time for what he did.
Now notice she said, I believe he should do, but that's not what the evidence shows. That's not what the evidence shows at all. If anything, the evidence shows that he did society a favor. How do you slap your own grandmother? How do you date women to get access to their sons? Really, really ridiculous. Which proves they have no idea what they're talking about, but I'll wrap that up at the end. Let's see what this liberal has to say.
Here, to support the calls for Kyle to go to prison for a very long time.
We've seen them all.
Now, why would he go to prison? Now, notice, actually, I'm gonna let this lead into the next one because it's kind of the same point.
There that night. We seen all the militia on the roof pointing their lasers at everybody, people walking through our parking lot, pointing lasers at them. He was, as far as I'm concerned, he was there to show off so he could get on social media holding an AR-15 and brag to his friends. He had no clue. He was a scared little kid that should have not been here.
So let's break this down. Now you've just witnessed two people who complain about Kyle being there, who saying he should be in prison, who saying he shouldn't have even been there. But notice they've not mentioned the rioters or looters one time. Not one time. Should your city have been burnt down? Probably not. Maybe they shouldn't have been there. In Seattle, should Chop Chas been able to take over 6, 7 city blocks and get no resistance from the mayor? So bad you forced the police chief, Carmen Best, and I hope she runs for mayor and then governor eventually, and maybe governor now, right? So I think she still stays in Washington. But they're mentioning nothing about it. Just Kyle shouldn't have been there. You know what? Maybe he wouldn't have to been there if, I almost said the bad word, if people lacking testicular fortitude like this idiot has stopped the city from being burnt down who have participated. See, this is why I say we've gotten to a point in America where civil war is no longer unavoidable. It's coming. I'm telling you.
Period.
Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere.
What he did.
That's actually not true. So if that's the case, then she should be over in China fighting for the release of the Uyghurs. But she's not. She should be over in Sweden fighting for the unvaccinated to have the same rights as the vaccinated. But she's not. She's not. Hell, she could go down to Haiti and fight the class oppression there. I've been there personally. I've had feet on the ground. It's horrible. But no, they're not going to do that. See, because they want to feel like they're doing something. And we are kind of at a point as a country where we have to meet them with the same reactive force. Sorry. You know what? If a group of pro-Kyle people showed up and said, hey, you know what? If he's found guilty, we're burning it down. This will come out different. I also have some news on what's taking the jury so long also.
It was horrible. And there's people out here saying that, self-defense isn't a crime, but it's like me breaking into somebody's house and them coming at me and I shoot them and kill them because they were going to kill me for being in their home and robbing them. And that's how I kind of feel like this is like, and I don't like that.
Let me show you her ignorance. Actually, that's not what this situation is like. She's ignorant. This situation is like, I walk out of my front door, somebody's breaking in my neighbor's car. I say, stop. He chases me down the street. I use my firearm to defend myself. That is what this is like. That is exactly what this is like. See, that's the thing. The left has so much ignorance and stupidity, and they're stuck in that ideology, and they're not going to change. So we are going to get to a point in the nation where we have to force them to change. Let's see what this one has to say. And they start chopping it up here, really, so I might just let the video play and then put in my comments at the end. Let's see what they have to say.
We'll be protesting. I will stand in solidarity with anyone who wants to protest if Kyle Rittenhouse is not found guilty of murder. But I will also be protesting an injustice, a system of injustice, a system of oppression, a system built by white supremacists. If Kyle is found guilty, because if Kyle is found guilty of murder, there is still a lot of injustice going on. I mean, the very fact that this judge can continue to be on this case is an injustice. If
I'm here because this is going totally wrong. It is a show, and the whole nation media is calling it a
Alrighty,
show.
ladies and
It's
gentlemen.
racist, it's biased.
So what you just saw there,
Without our voices, like, I just feel like we need to show them that.
so what you just saw there is a group of people who have no idea what the hell they're talking about. I can guarantee you they haven't watched the trial. Most people are still under the assumption Kyle killed 3 black men. And that's not true. There were hardly any black people there. If you'll notice, there's hardly ever any black people at BLM rallies, unless you're up in Washington, because they're kind of confused. But, and this is why I say we've come to a point of no reversibility. We're headed towards civil war, because good law-abiding citizens, it is your duty to no longer stand down. It is your duty to no longer let your houses be burnt, let your families be threatened, let juries be threatened. This is what patriotic Americans do. We can no longer stand down and bow to the mob. Don't do it. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. You know, there was an old Ice Cube saying, big gangster rap fan back in the day, by the way. There's an old Ice Cube lyric that went, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. And that's kind of where we are. They're not going to back down. They're not going to stop. They've been emboldened and enabled. So why would you think they would stop? Now remember, the only reason this whole thing took place, the Kenosha riots and everything, remember Trump offered National Guard assistance. The governor said no. No. Let me tell you another reason why they're afraid of the Rittenhouse verdict, right? If Rittenhouse comes back not guilty, that's going to enable other people to protect their communities, their lives, their families, their businesses, which they should have the right to do. See, because the left has convinced half of America that you don't have the right to protect your family, your life, your business, which is just not true. Now, they get away with this in these blue cities, in these cities with George Soros-backed prosecutors. Look, they almost got away with it in Atlanta. Remember the Atlanta couple? Come to find out, the prosecutor was heavily backed by Soros and committed several trials. I don't think she's the prosecutor anymore, is she? But see, they don't want you knowing or feeling, not knowing, feeling, because you know you have the right, feeling that you have the right to protect your family without ruining your life. See, that's their whole agenda. We have to come to a point too where we don't care about their agenda. And we have to do what we have to do, as I'm always saying on this show. So the update I got, and I got this from The Quartering on YouTube, and you can go watch this video, it explains it in more detail. I'm just going to hit it briefly because this video is starting to run long. But apparently and he lives in Kenosha, so he knows, you know, he has more access than anybody else. But he was saying what's holding the jury up from coming back with a not guilty verdict is 2 jurors are citing violence, riots, protests, and backlash if they convict Kyle Rittenhouse. So the jury's already done. It's already made up its mind. It's just those 2 people who are afraid of the mob. Now think about that. A jury's being intimidated. Could ruin a kid's life over 3 convicted felons that people like Whoopi Goldberg, Joanne Reed, Don Lemon, Cuomo, Brian Stelter still swear this kid is a racist when, as far as I know, he didn't shoot a black person. He didn't shoot a black person. And he had a confrontation with a black person, I guess, earlier that night, according to the trial, that he de-escalated and everything was cool. So it just is what it is. But thank you for watching this episode of the Dan Dawson Show. Like, subscribe, and share. And as always, especially in these days and times coming up, do what you got to do.